Hey guys, this is Marcus from ml-records.de, and I've decided to make another series, and in this series it's all about analog EQ, so stay tuned for more. Okay, hope all of you doing pretty well. So I've decided to make another series about this time about analog EQs, and the reason for this is I've already got 3 different type of analog EQs or hardware outboard EQs, and I was wondering which one I want to buy next, so I've decided to make a little shootout and check the different EQs on different instruments, and I'm going to split this series up. In this first part we're going to have a look on the drums and different instruments on the drums where I'm going to use the EQs. In the second part I am going to check the EQs on guitars, guitars, and I will do bass as well. And in the third part of this series I'm going to check the EQs on vocals. So let's have a look on the EQs I'm going to use. So let me at first, and only in exclusive in this part of the series, let me talk a little bit about the EQs I want to show you. I've got 3 different, as I already mentioned, and the first one I want to talk about is the MIDAS 512. This is the cheapest EQ I've got 2 of them, but I'm only going to use them in mono so we can compare all 3 different EQs. And the MIDAS 412 is a 500 series EQ with 4 bands, and all these 4 bands are pretty versatile. So you got the high band, which you can switch to a bell and a shave EQ. You got the low band, where you can also switch to a bell and a shave EQ, and you got 2 mid bands. For each band you can verify the frequency as well as the width of the EQ point, and you can attenuate, and you can boost and cut up to, I think it's 12 dB. Let me check. Yeah, I think it's 12 dB, so we can boost 12 dB and also cut 12 dB on every EQ point you got on this one. So the second one, the second EQ I've got is the FREDENSTEIN Artistic EQ. This one is a little more expensive than the MIDAS. I forgot to mention the MIDAS costs about $200, and the FREDENSTEIN Artistic EQ costs about $250. The FREDENSTEIN Artistic is also a 500 series. I'm only going to use 500 series EQs in this series, and it got 3 bands. You got a high band where you can switch to a shelf, you got a low band where you can switch to a shelf, and you got the mid band. Every band has a fixed width, so you can't change the Q factor on the bands, but you can change the mid band to a colored. I don't know, it's normal and colored, and you can switch between these 2 settings, and the colored should get some overtones with it. The last EQ I want to mention, or I'm gonna use in this video, is the LINDELL style EQ. I've already done a video with this EQ, but haven't compared it to the other EQs I've already got. So as I mentioned, it's a Pultec style EQ. You got almost 3 bands. You got a low band. You got a high, mid to high band of filter, and you also got a pretty high for the highs, but this one only can attenuate the frequency you're aiming for. So let me sum these up. We got 3 EQs we are going to use on different instruments and different tracks, and trying to compare these. And yeah, all of these are 500 series EQs. They the MIDAS costs 200 euros, the FREDENSTEIN costs about 250, and the Lindell is currently at 720, I think. So this is the most expensive one. And yeah, let's find out if you can hear the difference in the costs and the EQs. Okay guys, let's have a quick overview over my session I've decided to use for this video, and it's a song I've recorded with my punk band Skip to Friday. The album is called Tanken an der Punkstelle and it's already released. You can check it out if you like. The song is called Alles in Beige, and I've decided to get rid of all plugins I've used in this session. I've just gain staged every track, and without anything on the tracks. So pretty nice recording, I think. I've boosted the gain of the drums a little bit, so we can hear the differences in the instruments we are going to EQ. And I would like to start with the kick drum. So the kick drum are 2 kick drum mics routed to 1 bus, and I'm only going to EQ the bus. And we got a kick in and kick out, and so the kick out is basically a self-made bass microphone, and they are both routed, as I already mentioned, to a group that are sounding like this with 2 mics, or better with both mics. So pretty good already. Let's have a listen to the track again and try to focus on the kick drum and try to find out what is missing to let the kick drum cut through. And keep in mind that the drums are already a little louder than I would probably mix them for the track itself. I will show you the settings of the EQs. I don't know, I think I put them here, and give you an example of how I tweak them. But let's decide with our ears. Very important, I've already gain matched the EQ, so the kick drum will almost stay at the same level even with the EQ on or off. Yeah, let's start with the MIDAS EQ. So you can hear it's very transparent, and as I mentioned, I'm trying to focus on the frequency I'm missing on these tracks, and these are the lows and the highs. Okay, let's go to the next one, to the FREDENSTEIN EQ, and same as I done it before, I'm going to let the track play and we'll switch this EQ on and off. Let's have a listen and see if we can find any difference. Let's move on with the last one, the Pultec EQ. Same as before. I'm going to switch it on and off. So you can hear this one. For me, this one sounded the most old school way. I think this is pretty much due to the fact that we only got 2 bands that we can shape the way we want it, and also the way this EQ is built, it already sounds a little analog, got an analog vibe, and sounds a little, yeah, I don't mean it in a bad way, it sounds a little like an older recording. So let's compare these 3 different EQs on the kick track, but in solo, so we can hear the differences better and have a way to compare these the best. Okay, so let me start. You can read the EQ I'm going to switch on and off right here. So we got the MIDAS, the FREDENSTEIN and the LINDELL, and I'm starting with the LINDELL and going down and up again and switching them on and off, and you can hopefully hear the difference pretty well. Let's start. Let me sum this up pretty quickly. For my taste, the Pultec and the FREDENSTEIN are sounding the best. They are all sounding pretty much the same in the range I've EQ'd them. So I've tried to EQ them while the song is playing, so that I'm really focusing on what the kick drum needs and not going to solo the kick and EQ it then. So even if these are completely different EQs, they're all sounding pretty much the same, but everyone got its own character. And for me, the FREDENSTEIN especially sounded pretty well on the kick drum. What's your opinion? You can write it in the comments and tell me which one you like the most. I wanted to try another instruments from the drums to compare the EQs, and I've decided to also check the snare drum. The snare solo with all these 3 microphones together are sounding like this. Yeah, so it's a little thin. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's got ain't got enough beef for the track, but let's have a listen to the snare drum. I've already boosted the gain of the snare drum a little, so it peaks out of the mix a little bit. And let's have a listen to the snare drum in the track. So it's not bad at all, but I think we can improve the sound, and I've tried to do this, and I've done it the same way I've already did it to the kick drums. So I let the track play and played around with the knobs of the different EQs, and let's see what I come up with. And we are going to start with the MIDAS. No, let's start with the LINDELL Pultec style EQ at first. Okay, I'll let the track run and switch it on and off. Okay, let's switch to the MIDAS. And the FREDENSTEIN. Okay, and as we did it before, let's have a listen to the snare drum in solo and compare these three EQs. So let's start with the LINDELL, then the MIDAS, then the FREDENSTEIN, and I'm going switch them on and off and change them, and you can see which one is activated. So let's go. Yeah guys, I hope you liked this video. Keep in mind that I will release 2 more. The next one will check out the same EQs for the guitar and the bass, and the last video in this series I are going to have a look on how this EQ will perform on the vocals. So let me sum this up quickly again. For me, the FREDENSTEIN Artistic EQ is a pretty good, got a pretty good price to use value, because it's sounding pretty natural. The LINDELL as well, and the MIDAS is a little too artificial for the tracks I've used here, but it also is pretty useful if you're going to track, or if you're going to track a drum set and you got more than one microphone, so you can use this for a crutch mic, or I don't know, for any special mic you are going to use in a multi-track session. Yeah, I hope you liked this video. If you do, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about the EQs. Which one do you like the most? And yeah, stay tuned for the next part of the series. Bye bye.